Hello, today we are going to learn how to FRQ. So let's get right started. So first, what is an FRQ? So some of you have taken an AP course before and you may have done an FRQ, also known as a free response question. You will have 2 of these on the AP Psych exam, and they are worth 33.3% of the exam. Each FRQ will have 7 terms to it. So it'll have a little spiel about a little storyline, and then you'll have to apply the 7 terms to the little scenario. You will have 50 minutes to complete both FRQs. So one FRQ is 7 terms, and a second FRQ with 7 terms. 50 minutes total for both of them. The entire test is worth 150 points. 100 of those points comes from the multiple choice, and the other 50 come from this FRQ. So in order to make it worth 50 points, each term would be worth 3.57 points. So what are you going to be expected to do? So one of the FRQ questions will be, they told us at the end of 2019, that one FRQ question will be on research, for sure. Now, that was very often true in the past, and now they're making it clear that, yes, that's what's going to be on it. And that's really just because research is a foundational piece to this course, and so they're really trying to reinforce that that's an important part of this, and you should study for it. So the other FRQ will be focused on concepts from a variety of the units, topics, and it will be crossed over and mixed up, and you will be applying those terms to a scenario. So the key goal with a free response question is to take those terms they have listed and apply them in a way that not just that, oh, I got off, I think that would make sense, in a way that clearly demonstrates that you know what that word means because you're using it in a way that proves that you know what it means. So here's an example of an FRQ. This is the 2019 FRQ. So you have a scenario about Letty in a senior in high school. He works as an assistant to the children's librarian in his town library, blah, 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 right? So here, that's a little scenario. And then see at the bottom, there's the prompt. That's important to read because you have to make sure in order to apply, you're answering the specific question that they want you to answer. Not just like however you think you should apply this term, but how they want you to apply this term. So they want you, in this case, describe how each of the following concepts relates to Letty's return to working at the library. So you would take crystallized intelligence and tell how that relates to Letty's return to working at the library, and then altruism, and then go right down the line. So the best method that I have found for keeping this neat and concise, and so that the AP readers who are reading hundreds and hundreds of these a day can easily process your FRQ and find what they want to find, is a little trick called TUDAs. So TUDAs means term. So the first thing you do, there's no intro, there's no conclusion, you just write the term. And that's important. That's all that really matters, right? So write the term and then underline it. The U is for underline. Next, you are to define the term. Now, technically, you don't get points for defining the term in and of itself, but if your apply is just kind of on it, but it's not really 100% demonstrating that you know, and you have that definition, sometimes that will be the thing that kind of like pushes you over into earning the point or not. Because for each point, it's either you earn those 3.57 points, or you do not earn the points. It is an all or nothing. So you want to define and then you apply. That's your safeguard. And then the last thing, the S, is for space. You want to leave a space between each term. That makes it easy for the reader to find, that makes them happy, and we like when our AP FRQ readers are happy when they're grading our FRQs. So remember, it's not an essay, there's no intro, there's no conclusion, you just get straight to that term, underline, define, apply, space, move to the next term. And when you get to the last term, there's no little special extra, it's just over. There's not going to be time for a lot of extra. So just so you can see another example, so you see how this first example, it's just a scenario, then there's their prompt, and then there's your list of 7 terms. This example, taken from an earlier AP exam, has it broken down into a part A and a part B. And I wanted to show you this so that you could see that sometimes they want to ask you 2 different prompts. So they'll still give you your set of terms, but do you see how they've split them up? So in the first part, in this case, they want you to explain how each of the following concepts may help her in her performance in the play. And then they give you some terms. So those ones are saying, how does acetylcholine help her in the play? How does the kinesthetic sense help her in the play? In part B, they want you to answer how each of the following concepts may hinder her performance in the play. So how does an external locus of control hurt her in the play? So you really have to read those prompts, and sometimes they want you to do different things. There could be a part C, where it could go further than that. Okay, so those are the key things for how to write an FRQ. Remember, it is not an essay. Remember to do TUDAs. I will be putting that on our tests, especially early on, but eventually you will be expected to know TUDAs and just do it, because there won't be TUDAs written on your AP exam. So term, underline, define, apply, and space between the terms. If you are working and there's the 6 terms, so you're supposed to go in order. So if there are 6 terms listed and you don't know term number 2, do not just go out of order. That is not nice and neat and organized for the grader. So you want to just leave a big space. They give you so many lines in the AP exam, you will not run out of space. So just leave a big chunk of space, depending on your writing size, and then move on and then go back to it. It's way more important to focus on the terms that you know and try to earn those points, and then you can go back and try to figure out if you can write something to earn those points that you were not sure. The final key is to practice. So we're going to be practicing a lot in class, and on a test you'll have the FRQs as well. So make sure that you just keep practicing and really trying to apply. That's the part that students struggle with the most, especially early on in these first assessments. So take a couple. There are some practice FRQs in the textbook at the end of every module, and at the end of the unit there are practice multiple choice and practice FRQs. So give those a shot. I would be happy to look at them if you practice on your own.